Right now on Denver 7 News at 7 o'clock on Local 3, we continue to follow breaking news after a big fire in Lakewood townhomes under construction prompted evacuations. Not only the flames, but there was tremendous heat coming from this fire that affected nearby homes.
And we are getting a better look at the damage now that the sun is up. This is a live shot from our crew on the ground. This gutted that townhome under construction, and it was so hot it even damaged a house behind it. Denver 7's Christian Lopez is at the scene near West Colfax and Sims. And Christian, you talked to some brothers who have been able to get to safety now.
And they were pretty shaken up this morning. They had to escape those flames overnight. More than a dozen people had to evacuate their homes this morning when that fire broke out. It started at this construction site where these townhomes are being built. It destroyed 3 of them. And as you mentioned, that heat was just so strong and so intense that it actually caused this house next door to catch fire just from that heat exposure. This is the house where those 2 brothers live. You can see that damage on the lawn as well as on the side of the building. Now, one of the brothers that we talked to on camera said that thankfully he was awake and he was able to call 911. He says had he not been awake, the damage could have been much worse.
Very, very scary because I thought, oh, there goes the house. And if I'd gone to bed, as I usually do, I probably wouldn't have noticed it until the whole thing burnt down, with me in the house,
And we also want to show you the house right next to them. You can see that the siding also melted. If we zoom into that over there as well, just to show you how strong those flames were. Now, crews are still on the scene and they are trying to look into what caused this fire. We do know that around 15 people in total did evacuate their homes, but no one was injured, thankfully. Live in Lakewood this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Christian. Things a little calmer up high as we take a live look from Lookout Mountain this morning. And a little haze across the city, or fog this morning. Lisa is back because so is the heat is coming back today after that break yesterday.
And 2 different views. You're right. When you get up from that vantage point, a little hazy, but here from Westminster, looking off to the west, you're going to find some sunshine. You can still see a little of that haze off into the distance. It will be quite a bit warmer today. Yesterday at this point, we had some cloud cover. It took a long time to warm up. Today, look at how fast it heats up. We're going to be at about 80 degrees as early as 11 o'clock. We'll be a good 10, 12 degrees warmer than that when we hit a high of about 92 in Denver this afternoon. So a lot warmer here for us in town. At low mid 90s from Denver to Fort Collins and Greeley, Castle Rock and Parker. You're going to see some mid to upper 80s, just a touch cooler there to the south, and more 70s in the mountains this afternoon. Now we are looking at sunny skies now. There will be a better chance though for a few thunderstorms later today, and I'll show you that here coming up on our Futurecast in just a few minutes.
We have a couple of problems on I-25, one up north near Community Center Bridge on the southbound side. So after 120th Avenue. The other problem is in downtown Denver right now on that northbound side of I-25. And you can see from Air Tracker 7 right now, from their camera, here you go, the right lane is blocked northbound. This is also transitioning as the ramp to go to I-70. This expansion joint right here that goes right over the railroad tracks is awful. There are so many gaps in there, and it feels like your whole car is going to fall apart when you go on it on this northbound side. You hit it, and it's just crushingly awful. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of the reason why we have this crash in here. So this is backing up traffic, as you can see, across downtown. Just terribly. It's about a half an hour from Broadway all the way up through there, cutting across downtown, maybe using Federal. Those might be better options for you than trying to sit on that northbound traffic jam.
All right. Thanks, Jason. In just a few hours, a Colorado man will be testifying before the committee investigating the January 6th riots. And Denver 7's Veronica Costa is here. Veronica, Jason Van Tatenhove wasn't actually at the riots, so what do lawmakers want to hear from him?
Jason Van Tatenhove wasn't there. He's actually a podcaster in Estes Park now, but he used to be a spokesperson for the Oath Keepers militia group. You see him here behind me. His testimony today is to actually give a historical overview of the Oath Keepers as well as violent militias. Now, despite the focus of today's hearing being on radical extremism, that's not what Tatenhove says he is a part of anymore. He now celebrates Pride Month, talking nothing like he did just 5 years ago when he was a part of the Oath Keepers. Now, during his time with the militia group, you'd hear him warning, quote, good Americans against the federal government, telling them it was trying to, quote, take more of your liberties away, even urging, quote, fellow patriots to, quote, take a stand. Van Tatenhove spoke about his upcoming testimony during one of his podcast episodes, saying this isn't the first, even the second time he's going to be speaking with officials in D.C. He said in part, quote, "I've already done 2 interviews. One was off the record and just via Zoom. The other was me flying out to some congressional office in D.C. and being on the record. All I'm doing is giving a historical precedence to the Oath Keepers and groups like the Oath Keepers." Lawmakers are also expected to call Stephen Ayers, an Ohio man who pleaded guilty to his role in the Capitol attack. Ayers posted on social media accusing President Biden and Democrats of treason and warning of a coming civil war. And we might also hear from former White House counsel Pat Cipollone, who recorded his testimony just this past Friday. In an earlier hearing, a White House aide said Cipollone warned staffers not to let the former president go up to the Capitol with his supporters. In studio, I'm Veronica Acosta. Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Veronica. Former advisor to President Trump, Steve Bannon, is changing his tune. He now says he's willing to testify in front of the committee, but only in a live public setting. It comes as a federal judge refused to delay his contempt of Congress trial set to start next week. Bannon says he can now cooperate with the committee after Trump lifted his executive privilege order preventing his testimony, but an attorney for Trump told the Department of Justice that Trump never claimed executive privilege for Bannon. Today's hearing is set to begin at 11 o'clock our time. You will be able to watch it over on Denver 7.
Well, some big business news overnight. The dollar and the euro are worth the same amount for the first time in 20 years. The euro fell about 12% overnight, bringing it down to the level of $1. European inflation is around 8.5%, the same as the U.S., but they're more energy dependent on Russia, which has cut off or raised prices for oil and natural gas.
We have some encouraging news this morning, though. The price of oil is dropping. That's according to Gas Buddy. You can see on your screen the WTI crude oil is now below the $100 mark, which is 17 cents lower than yesterday. So as we take a look at the average gas prices from AAA nationally, we're at $4.65 a gallon. We are still about 20 cents higher, though, here in Colorado. New this morning, the Aurora City Council approved a pilot program to hopefully slow down drivers near schools and homes. 3 different vans equipped with cameras will now be placed in various spots around the city and use laser technology to catch speeders. The violations that are captured would have to be reviewed before anyone is officially cited, and the city will issue warnings in the first month of the program, but then start handing out tickets and fines. It comes after a 54% jump in deadly traffic crashes in Aurora over the past 3 years. The Superior Board of Trustees is approving an emergency ordinance creating deadlines for debris removal following the Marshall Fire. It calls for impacted homeowners to submit for a debris removal permit by Friday. Under the emergency ordinance, the debris must be out by the end of August. Homeowners can ask for a 45-day extension. Governor Polis has announced new grants to help with year-round wildfire mitigation efforts. Colorado's Department of Natural Resources is moving $13 million for work on the ground. $44 million will also be used to protect and restore watersheds threatened by recent wildfires. And the governor also said the state's new Strategic Wildfire Action Program will invest $25 million for wildfire mitigation. One of the biggest issues when it comes to fighting wildfires, though, is the pay and benefits for federal firefighters. President Biden increased firefighter base pay by up to 50%, but that's only for 2 years. Congressman Joe Neguse is pushing for TIMS Act, named for a wildland firefighter.
TIMS Act, the bill that we've introduced, is so important because TIMS Act is comprehensive. It doesn't simply address base pay. It addresses, of course, overtime and bonus pay structures, housing, various health benefits, the vast majority of which currently wildland firefighters are unable to access.
So if it passes, it would increase starting wages to $20 an hour and increase annual pay by at least $20,000.
New Broncos owner Rob Walton added a big name to the ownership group, former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. She has several connections to Denver. She moved here when she was 12 and graduated from DU. The group is buying the Broncos for more than $4.5 billion. Avs winger Valeri Nichushkin is sticking with the team for 8 more years. He signed an extension yesterday worth $49 million. Nichushkin just had the best regular season of his career, posting 25 goals and 52 points in 62 games. The Avs have promoted Joe Sakic to president of hockey operations, and he promoted Chris McFarland to general manager. Not much will change. These two have worked together for the last 7 years. Now they'll work on signing free agents. Players that are unrestricted free agents, those without a team, can begin meeting and talking with teams tomorrow. The futures of Nazem Kadri, Andrei Burakovsky, Arturi Lakonin, and Josh Manson all hang in the balance during this free agency process.
Well, it's only Tuesday, but I guess any day can be Friday. Talking about French fries here, the 2 fast food chains offering their tasty fries for free.
And does this house remind you of anything? Maybe something Barbie would live in? Well, the house that's getting attention on social media and the list price that got our attention.